Today we'll be talking about 5 tips to kickstart your content marketing. Some of these are going to be really helpful pieces that you can take back to your own marketing team, and some of this are things that partners and agencies can help you with. I'll start today with this quote from Lee Odden, marketing expert. Content is the reason search began in the first place. And isn't this true? We're looking for answers to our questions, directions, phone numbers to local businesses, restaurant menus, and tips for living healthier lives. Your patients, visitors, and consumers are looking for the same things. And this is why content marketing is the beating heart of your competition in search, and more importantly, the connection you make with people who need your help. And what are health consumers looking for when it comes to healthcare? .Health did a study in 2017 that shows how people search for healthcare information online. Buying health products and insurance is on the list, but so is looking for diet and exercise plans, or communicating with healthcare providers, or wanting to know more about health conditions or symptoms. And Pew Internet and American Life Project finds that 80% of internet users, around 93 million Americans, search for health-related topics online. So what content are your consumers going to find? Let's hope it's content that answers their questions. Advertising and content marketing have similar traits, but are different in their purpose. In both cases, we might be hoping our organization connects with these users and encourages them to visit our clinics or make appointments with our doctors. But with content marketing specifically, it's a chance to start a conversation. Content marketing isn't about making a sales pitch. It's about reaching your users where they are and speaking to their interests and needs. Where advertising interrupts, content marketing gives valuable information or answers questions. Where advertising is intended for shorter attention spans, content marketing is meant for longer engagement. Where advertising hinges on immediate response, content marketing is meant to build trust over time. And where advertising is more tied to magazines or TV commercials, content marketing comes in other forms, like blogs or podcasts. Most of us recognize content marketing as things like long-form stories, or long narratives, essays, or even design-heavy storyboards. We also see them in short stories, like news articles and blog posts, or personal stories like patient stories and testimonials. You'll frequently see content marketing in curation, a collection of tips or content from your own blogs or other sources. And listicles are popular these days, numbered lists as articles, like 8 Ways to Eat Healthier. It can also be less conventional content, like memes and infographics, catchy still images that illustrate a point or provide context around a topic. Memes are usually meant to be more lighthearted and comical, while infographics are usually more detailed and educational. Podcasts and videos are growing in popularity every day, and video effectiveness continues to grow as it plays well with mobile. Quizzes and games make content interactive by gamification to engage users and educate in different ways. And expert Q&As are a really great way to use your own experts and for innovative approaches like Facebook Live videos, Twitter Q&A, written articles, and more. According to True North Custom's 2018 Marketing and Healthcare Survey, nearly 80% of healthcare organizations are relying on content marketing today, a good sign that it's growing in its use. This has actually increased by 14% from their 2017 survey. And in a 2019 Greystone survey, 77% of healthcare marketers agreed that content marketing is a valuable asset to their organization, an increase of 10% from the previous year. So marketers, by and large, agree that it's valuable, but are we doing it right? Geometric's 2017 Digital Marketing Trends Survey gathered feedback from over 200 healthcare organizations across the country. In it, we asked participants to identify what content marketing techniques they used, represented with the dark blue line, and what they found valuable or effective as a result, represented with the lighter blue line. Our results indicated that videos, email marketing, in-person events, and blogs seem to trend up when it comes to its effectiveness of assets. But things like mobile apps, microsites, and online seminars weren't quite doing the trick. What's interesting is the use of blogs compared to its effectiveness. Blogs in particular have a dip in their use compared to other assets, but organizations who do use them find them very valuable. And video use is on the rise for everyone. Even still, it would feel that we don't really believe in our efforts across the industry. Despite that roughly 80% of healthcare organizations rely on content marketing to reach audiences, most, nearly 60%, find their marketing attempts as only somewhat effective. But why is that? What is stopping this tremendous content marketing machine from working for so many organizations? The truth is, you've got some things in your organization that are at a premium. According to True North Custom's 2018 Content Marketing Report, the top 5 constraints in healthcare content marketing include budget, or finding money to support content marketing plans, teams, tools, and resources. Measurement. Measuring the content effectiveness moderately challenges 59% of organizations, but it's so vital to understanding the success of your efforts. Variety. The ability to devote time to a variety of content impacts nearly 60% of healthcare organizations. Team resources. According to Geometric's 2018 Healthcare Digital Marketing Trends Survey, organizations usually only have 1.27 persons to help with content, which could be any content, not just content marketing. Finding the right people to do consistent, valuable, branded content can be a tall order. And last but not least, time. Time is hard to find in any given day, but when stretched between managing the website, campaigns, meetings or internal communications, and other day-to-day tasks, it makes it hard to squeeze in content marketing too. So what do you do? If you're watching this webinar and are facing similar challenges, this is where an agency partnership can come in hand to help you meet your goals. At the very least, a dedicated partner can help align achievable content marketing strategies that fit your budget and resources. But before you commit to a partner, we'll provide some bite-sized tips in this webinar that might make it easier to get content marketing balls rolling. Let's see what you can do to kickstart your content marketing and avoid some of these pesky obstacles that could get in the way. We'll start here with tip number 1. Who's your audience? Who are your consumers? Discovering who your audience is, how they reach you, and how they reach their queries is part of laying a solid content marketing foundation. Content marketing holds little to no value if you don't know who you're trying to find and who's trying to find you. Understanding your users and audience can be a great way to express the focus and purpose of your marketing efforts. User personas get painted with a broad brush in healthcare, but targeted and specific user personas can help you create better, more engaging content and marketing experiences that deliver ROI. Patients aren't reading your website and content in groups. There's a real person on the other side of the screen. So ask yourself questions like, what do they want to know? And when do they want or need to know it? What's most and least important to them? What is the right tone for this audience? And what action do we want them to take? Answering these questions can help shape user personas that can help you express focus and purpose and illustrate user expectations in a better and more clear way. And user personas and journey maps can fit in nicely to this too. If you've not created personas before, you can start compiling data about your audience from places like patient and family advisory councils, volunteer representation. Even surveys and focus groups are a great way to get some one-to-one feedback from your real audience. Patient research data, either regional or within your own hospital, can give you great insights into patient information. And your own friends and family have their own topics and interests that might tie into personas. In this example, I have Melanie. She's 35, a wife and mother and working professional, focused on keeping her family healthy, especially healthy habits. Your personas, yes, plural, you should have more than one, will fall in various places of the buyer's journey or customer funnel. Where Melanie might be interested in just tips for living healthier lives with her husband and her daughter, Jerry, a retired senior and my actual dad, hi Dad, may need help with his joint pain and stiff knee, or he might want information on managing his diabetes at home. He's likely leaning closer to making an appointment to see a professional than Melanie is. Those experiences and where these users are in their life will dictate the content you plan to develop and the call to action that leads them to the next step, all of which should be taken into consideration in your content marketing strategy. All True Health System, a Geometric client, knew who they were trying to reach when they started rethinking their content marketing and blog strategy. Their blog's main focus is to share stories about their exceptional care and services, but they also write about their culture and spotlight their employees, which serves as a fantastic catalyst for human resources recruitment efforts. The best part of their tagging and taxonomy strategy keeps content for all of these audiences organized appropriately within their hub, allowing for handy cross-promotion and applicable pages to sections of their All True Health System public website. Once you've outlined your personas, it's time to figure out how these people look for answers in their healthcare questions and how they might be finding competitors in your area. It's time for keyword research. Repeat after me. Writing for users is more important than writing for machines and algorithms. That's because Google's goal is to solve problems for users. They want to show a page that's most likely to provide the information the user is looking for. Google standards demand useful, quality, engaging copy over any other factor, including optimizing your content or optimizing your images. But what does Google consider good content? Content that answers users' questions, offers value by providing useful, original information, content that's well written and updated on a regular basis, content that incorporates words your audience uses, or keywords, effectively and in context, and content that uses headings like H1s, H2s, and so on to provide an appropriate page structure and context. When performing keyword research, start with a full list of all the possible keywords and phrases someone might use to find the content you're creating. In it, include alternative spelling or terms, abbreviations, and variations. Brainstorm anything and everything that could possibly be linked as a keyword to your topic and write it down. After you have your list of keywords, use a keyword tool to see how those terms are searched in your target area. Places like cities, counties, states, regions, and beyond. Checking the difficulty of those queries helps too. Prioritize the words that rank high and are applicable to your area, and consider how those words and phrases could find homes in your content marketing. Your research will likely turn up lots of keywords, but you can't and probably shouldn't use all of them. When you're choosing which ones to use in your writing, the most important factor is, of course, how relevant they are to your subject matter. Don't force a keyword onto your page to artificially boost SEO if the word isn't related to what your healthcare organization is offering. From there, consider factors like how often a term is searched, as this could indicate high interest in a certain topic. You'll also want to consider what types of results a keyword turns up when you type it into Google. What you may not want are keywords that bring up results from sites like Wikipedia or WebMD. That's really tough competition. Instead, when you find a term that brings up local results, it might mean you have a better chance of getting your hospital's webpage to rank for that query. And some keyword research tools also show how hard it is to rank in search results for a certain term. But don't let high difficulty stop you from writing something your organization needs. The difficulty rating can just give you some idea of what results to expect after you publish the content. And lastly, consider the user intent when you're making a certain query. For example, you can probably infer that someone searching for the phrase stroke risk factors wants general information about stroke rather than the need to seek an emergency room right now. In the age of voice search, are they searching by question? This could indicate the need for more question and answer topics or headings to speak to your audience. Of course, your use of keywords can also impact your rankings. To use keywords and phrases well, incorporate them naturally in context as part of high-quality content that provides value to the user. Google gives more weight to keywords used in certain areas of your website. So as much as possible, work those priority keywords into things like HTML page titles, your meta descriptions, headings like H1s and H2s, link anchor text, image titles or alt text, and URLs. And of course, weave your found keywords into content into organic, user-friendly ways that help for indexing and ranking, and most of all, user understanding of the value of the page to their original query. If these steps are hard, or this is a lot for your team to reach around on their own, from creating useful personas to empathy maps and researching keywords, partners can help you do this too. They can help lay the foundation to providing a competitive, valuable content marketing strategy that your team and resources can use. Now, you did the keyword research, or maybe a partner helped you along the way. But what do we do with this? Welcome to tip 2, generating top-notch content marketing ideas. Every year, Dr. Google releases the top searches for the previous year. In 2018, questions ranged from what is the keto diet and why am I always tired to what are the symptoms of ALS or endometriosis. Top questions, in fact, start with why, what, and how. This shows us that consumers want to know more about their healthcare and find answers in their journey before becoming a patient. And 40% of healthcare searches are done by family members or loved ones on behalf of someone else. And with Alexa, Siri, and other voice assistants just a click or command away, questions and statements, also known as long-tail keyword searches, are growing in popularity. And this is where content marketing can come into play. To start, you might look at your keywords and commonly asked questions as a place to start doing ideation. Google Trends is also a great place to look at newsworthy healthcare topics that could give your team places to spin from too. But even internal press releases, like this one about a new birth center, can be a great place for ideas. If this was your organization, what could we do with content marketing? Perhaps you could write an article or listicle, 5 ways water births make delivery easier, as a way to highlight your birthing tubs in your new suites. Your internal teams, including your volunteers, providers, and staff, also have stories to share, and many have questions that they get frequently from guests and patients. What's on the mind of the community members coming through your door? And what about your family and friends? What are their healthcare interests today? Lastly, seasonal and cyclical events can be really helpful too. It's no secret that you'll often see articles about the flu trending in flu season. You'll also see a lot more heart-related events this month because February is Heart Health Month. These seasonal and cyclical events can be helpful in your idea generation. Here's a great example of using seasons as a way to generate ideas. Care of our client, Firelands Regional Health System. When it comes to seasonal events, their blog, Empower, does a great job. Not only does their banner reflect the winter months of the Midwest, but their stories align with their readers with what they're looking for, including how to stay warm during late January's polar vortex, 7 tips for weight loss to help you meet that New Year's resolution, and reasons you should see your primary care physician this year. I love that they also encourage their patients and visitors to share their own stories to empower others. What a great way to incorporate and potentially encourage user-generated content and patient stories. Let's revisit Google Trends for a second. Google Trends is an amazing free resource to get super high-level views of how people on the internet are using the world's most powerful search engine. If you don't have this bookmarked, I highly suggest you do that now. In a January 24th search on Google Trends for heart, queries around Widowmaker heart attack were trending considerably. In fact, the shaded map shows it was trending everywhere. But why? It could be linked to 2 celebrity heart attacks that happened in 2018. Actor and filmmaker Kevin Smith and fitness coach Bob Harper. They happened earlier in the year, but they made big waves, and both were very vocal about their experience and how they've recovered. But when I clicked on one of the Widowmaker heart attack queries, it returned results for Mr. Smith and Mr. Harper, but it also turned results for the popular NBC show This Is Us, where a character suffers a Widowmaker heart attack. Here are some of the questions related to what Widowmaker heart attack topics are interesting to users and what people are trying to learn about. Is there an opportunity in your own community to talk about this topic? Knowing this climbing in interest, what could we do with this information for Heart Health Awareness Month? But while we're here, what else is going on in February? Here are some of February's noteworthy events according to Healthline's 2019 Health Awareness Calendar, another great bookmark to keep handy. From low vision awareness to heart health and teen dating violence to organ donors, there are a myriad of topics and potential articles that could help educate and support your patients in their health journey. This is a great way to look ahead on editorial calendars, which we'll talk about shortly, and plan content that speaks to these major calendar milestones. For this exercise, let's pretend you recently grew your ophthalmology department and provider team. You want to attract more attention to it, and fortunately it's February, and there's a great time to showcase their expertise in low vision and AMD, or macular degeneration. But to start, I'll compare low vision and macular degeneration to see which terms are getting more traffic. And I was surprised. I honestly thought low vision would beat out macular degeneration, if nothing else for the ease of spelling and typing. But I was wrong. As you can see, according to Google Trends, macular degeneration is the more popular term. So let's see what people are searching for around these conditions. When I check Google itself for what is low vision and what is macular degeneration, I get similar questions related to my query. Both attract interest in symptoms, causes, and prevention. And sure, WebMD might answer some of this, but there may be some really great things we could do internally in our organization to siphon from these related searches. Let's see what other questions people might be asking, or variations of these topics. This is Answer the Public. You can search keywords and phrases to see what types of questions are being asked around a topic. And if nothing else, it's a great way to spin up potential blog ideas. And there are some very specific questions here. Things like, can macular degeneration cause headaches? How long does macular degeneration take? And how does macular degeneration affect vision? These are all questions that people search for, and that you, as a healthcare organization, could answer through your content marketing. So with all of that high-level research we just did, from Answer the Public and Google Trends, or maybe even Keyword Planner, here are some ideas I came up with that could be great context for Low Vision Awareness Month articles. How about an infographic on the top 10 foods to help curb low vision? Or maybe a video Q&A with one of your doctors about common age-induced vision conditions and how to prevent them. Maybe you have a patient story in your organization where you helped someone regain their vision. Or maybe it's a simple listicle of 5 common causes of macular degeneration and how to reduce your risk. Even an advice column on how to know if your vision is healthy might be a good place to start. A team meeting around these annual events is a really great way to brainstorm and plan your editorial calendar. And don't assume you have to publish all 5 of these this year. Keep them in your back pocket for future planning. But again, if finding time for this is hard, partners can help build on keyword and trend research to help find leading ideas that can connect your patients and consumers to your brand. You deserve and have the right tools at your fingertips to reach people you want to reach, and partners, vendors, and agencies can help you and your team do just that. So you've got your audience and keywords, we've got some home run ideas on deck. It's time to share your content marketing everywhere. According to a 2019 Brafton report on the state of content marketing, 1 out of every 3 minutes is spent on social media. Our social media use, or addiction in some cases, is real. In fact, New York University did a study recently where they paid $100 to participants to stay off Facebook for 4 weeks and report how they felt. They were happier, they spent less time on their screen, but as soon as the study was over, they reactivated their accounts. So whether it's socializing or just staying in the know, people really like engaging on social media channels, so you won't see that falling out of the spotlight anytime soon. So how does this impact us as healthcare content marketers? To start, it's helpful to know what networks people are engaging with most. According to Pew Research Center, Facebook continues to lead all age groups today, but younger generations are quickly adapting to Instagram too. By identifying your target audience and personas and their preferred social media networks and devices, you can better understand why sharing content on certain networks may generate specific results and interests. Fortunately, in healthcare, it seems we're all on the same page. Because 75% of healthcare marketers in 2019's annual Greystone survey identified that they use Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter for their organizations. But how? Having a social media account for your organization is one thing, but is it kept active with regular posts and valuable content that your audience wants to engage with? And are you building conversations with followers or listening to what they have to say? Here are 5 handy tips to remember when posting on social media. And this may not be news to everyone. But first, always include a link that goes somewhere. Maybe you're sharing a news story from your local news channel that covered an event at your hospital. That's okay. Share the link to the local news site where the video is displayed. But maybe think about links to your own organization's website. Maybe you're welcoming a new provider to your staff. Link to his or her profile. It could be about your recently remodeled cafe. Link to your cafe page or menu. The list goes on. Give your readers somewhere to go. And if you'd like to get to know your followers a little more, pose a question or a poll. This can generate fantastic conversation among your community, but also generate great content ideas you could plan for in the future. Try to keep hashtags to 3 or less, as studies have shown that more than 3 can appear spammy and are a little easy to overlook for your users. Make sure your hashtags are relevant to your content too. And find a strategy for posting content marketing to your social channels. As you build your editorial calendar, which we'll talk about soon, think about what time of day you want to publish or day of publishing so you can start monitoring the traffic you're receiving from your referring social channels. And lastly, include images on all of your posts to boost engagement. Why? Because images deliver engagement. HubSpot says studies show you can boost your engagement on Facebook and Twitter by nearly 40% by including images on your posts. And you can see potentially 80% more engagement on your email newsletters. Your Content Marketing Hub posts should have images in them ideally, but if they don't, or you're just posting a poll or question to your followers, add an image to capture their attention. In this example, Mercy Medical Center in Cedar Rapids held a fundraiser. In celebration, members of their executive team took a pie to the face. The Mercy followers loved the pictures, and it was a great way to showcase their culture and have a fun side to show their community. It's also good to think about the hashtag bandwagon you could be jumping on. For National Peanut Butter Day, yes, this is a thing, on January 24th, Cleveland Clinic shared an infographic about 4 tips for choosing the best peanut butter. It's a health article, sure, but it's also a fun infographic and appropriate timeline to be shared for this unique awareness event. And if you want to take a page out of Cleveland Clinic's book, make sure the hashtags you're using, especially trending ones, have a definition that aligns with what you're trying to share. Social media trends evolve quickly, and hashtags take many meanings and definitions, which could be vastly different from your brand's original intent. Here's some other helpful tips to remember too. Don't use punctuation in hashtags, and again, keeping it to 3 or fewer to avoid your post from feeling or appearing spammy. Capitalize separate words so they can be correctly read by screen readers for accessibility. And brand your hashtags if you can with your brand's name or acronym or abbreviation. A quick Google search can give you some great insight into what healthcare hashtags are currently trending. Our client, Avera Health, has a content hub called Avera Balance. It's a priority for their organization. Besides publishing several times a week, they also focus their efforts on sharing their links and content on social media channels like Facebook and Twitter. And they also use hashtags, especially on Twitter. In this example, an article about how to avoid threatening winter weather, it's hashtagged with topics covered in the post, including frostbite and hypothermia. But if setting up, sharing, monitoring social media accounts is a lot to ask, a partner can help. Social media channel management is simply measuring your ROI with social efforts, and partners can help fill those gaps that give your team the data and returns you're looking for. Which brings us to our next tip. Measure and test and measure and test. The beat goes on. Content marketing is never really done. It's a chance for you to keep a finger on the pulse of what's working and what needs to be evolved. Of all the places where content marketing could connect to real ROI for healthcare organizations, appointment requests, patient referrals, seminar or event attendance, and more, over 81% of organizations surveyed in the True North Custom Content Marketing Survey said they rely on website traffic as their primary metric for content marketing success. And while website traffic can give you some insight into your content's performance, it should not be your only indicator. And it's certainly too broad to truly capture your ROI. And that's where SMART goals can come in. Tom Gerasimchuk, a content expert and storyteller, says it well. Audiences speak with their time. Across the board, content marketing experts, myself included, emphasize that you won't see returns on content marketing overnight. Often, it takes time and patience to see how your brand conversation grows with the audiences you're hoping to target. Sometimes it may take a few weeks, a few months, or maybe you won't see returns truly until the end of the year. But fortunately, there are ways you can measure smaller bits of content marketing success, which could be easier for translating to ROI and sharing with your stakeholders and internal teams. SMART goals are everywhere these days. My streaming fitness app, Daily Burn, talks about SMART goals every week. And while they're related to everyday life, they're perfect in marketing too. SMART goals stand for specific, a specific area for improvement. Measurable, a quantifier or indicator of progress. Attainable, realistic and in reach. Relevant, tying to overarching organizational goals. Timely, when results can be achieved. And as you consider the SMART approach, how could you put it into play in your organization? Let's take a look. We'll pretend that one of your organizational initiatives in 2019 is to increase patient recruitment, especially to your primary care services. How could we take a bite size of this into a SMART goal? We'll start with this. Our goal is to increase primary care appointment requests by 10% for the next quarter. We'll monitor this success by tracking the use of the schedule an appointment call to action in our relevant blog posts. We'll track this by applying Google Tag Manager to the CTA and reviewing events in Google Analytics for the appointment request form completion rates. This example is SMART because it identifies a specific goal, the 10% increase in appointment scheduling. It's measurable because we can add tracking to the call to action that can help give us some form of analytics into the success of the appointment request form. It's attainable because as your team plans to blog more, you'll have more eyes on the schedule and appointment call to action, so this goal isn't out of line. And it's relevant because your organization's goal is to increase patient recruitment. And of course it's timely because we're keeping it to a fiscal year quarter for measurement comparisons. This gives your team something to think about and plan for as you consider your editorial calendar and the topics you plan to cover in the coming quarter. Your keyword research can reveal primary care related topics or interests that can help drive valuable assets for your content marketing. Beyond the SMART goal though, you could also keep an eye on other areas of your marketing efforts. Social media engagement, website interaction, and in-person engagement or feedback can be equally valuable to telling your content marketing success. For example, social media engagement includes things like likes and comments, shares of your posts, direct messages to your organization on Facebook or Twitter, click-through traffic from your post, or social listening, or keeping an ear on the ground of what your followers and competitors are saying about your brand. From this example of Mayo Clinic Minute about mindfulness and meditation, it could be assumed, if compared to other posts, that this is a topic that resonates with many of their consumers. In fact, 17 hours prior, just the still image and link about mindfulness gathered similar feedback in terms of likes and retweets. Notice how each of these has a link to the reader to go somewhere, a great social media sharing tip. Website engagement could include event registration, people signing up for events from CTAs on your content marketing, for example. Maybe it's e-newsletter registration and click-throughs, or call to action links like appointment requests. Behavior metrics and user flows within Google Analytics can tell you where people are going throughout your site, whether they've started at content marketing or ended there. And video or asset views can tell you if people are engaging with more interactive content like videos or podcasts. In the top image, Cone Health Wellness Matters has an article about cancer survivorship, and throughout the article includes links to their free support groups, classes, and staff for cancer survivors, as well as their group Finding Your New Normal. All True Health System and Avera Health, meanwhile, have e-newsletter subscriptions easily available, whether on the Hub homepage or within the articles themselves. And in-person engagement is another way you can get a lot of great feedback. Appointments scheduled, especially if they're on online scheduling that's linked to your content marketing, clinic walk-ins, or even just general feedback from patients about something they read on your website can tell you if it's resonating with your audience. And that's why sharing your goals inside the organization can be helpful. It's a great way to keep people in the know of how you're tracking your success online and off. University of Iowa Healthcare has an array of health topics and patient stories on their website. But always available, just a click away, is a button to schedule an appointment. On this example, a strength workout for runners, a story plus a video, encourages not only appointments, but provides a related sports medicine clinic that can help. But success isn't just numbers. If you want to look beyond social, website, and in-person interaction and see how people feel or interact with content when they encounter it, tools like heat mapping and click tracking can show us how well they hold user attention. Focus groups or surveys can help spark other ideas from how you present your content or other varieties that they're hungry for and you haven't considered. And feedback buttons on articles are a popular method to see if the people value the content you're providing. Thumbs up or thumbs down or open comment fields let users tell you if they feel passionately about this piece. Throughout all of your metric tracking and feedback review from consumers, keep your teams, including your C-suite stakeholders, involved in your goals. Schedule regular touchpoints with updates and reports on your goals and hypotheses, and open the floor to new ideas and approaches. And if establishing and tracking is hard to do with limited resources, ask partners for a hand. Partners can help identify SMART goals, set up appropriate tracking tools, and develop reporting templates to help you share your goal statuses inside your organization. Now, let's tie all of these content marketing tips into one foundational package, and that's the foundation of success with the content governance and workflow. As a content strategist, I live in the world of Content Strategy 101, as defined by one of its most ardent practitioners, Christina Halverson. Content strategy is defined as the creation, publication, and governance of useful, usable content, and content marketing follows in the same vein. Content feels permanent once it's on a page, but it's not. It always has room for improvement, or room to pivot, or room to grow. These changes and fluctuations in planning or sharing or measuring means you're always delivering high-quality content to your consumers and patients, as well as your search engines. It results in positive return on investment, or ROI, or it should if it's done well. Lisa Welchman, author of a book I recommend called Managing Chaos, has a great quote about digital governance. Digital governance is a framework for establishing accountability, roles, and decision-making authority for an organization's digital presence by addressing 3 topics: strategy, policy, and standards. Lisa's direction into a few different deliverables can help give your team some solid framework around the work you do and why you do it. The first is a core strategy statement, which can also be interpreted as a content marketing mission statement. What are you building, who is it for, and why does it matter to your brand? The second is tone of voice and style. Your brand should have one of these already, and if it doesn't, consider creating one. Your content marketing could echo this style, or maybe it has its own that's slightly different from the organizational tone. Third are editorial calendars. What's the content plan for the coming months? What's the bandwidth that we need? This is what an editorial calendar can help you outline. Team roles and responsibilities and workflows can kind of give you an idea of who does what, keeping an eye on what roles you have, what roles you need, and how to fill those gaps when your team or team members change or leave the organization. Lastly, setting goals as a team and reviewing those goals to pivot when necessary. Your SMART goals should play a direct role in your governance plan for your content marketing. Let's start with governance, thinking about core strategy statements. This is the what's your goal and who's it for mission statement. In the early stage of your content marketing planning, a core strategy statement can help set the stage and tone for what your marketing hub is and what it is not. And these answers can help you craft a specific purpose. From your content marketing hub or channel, it can gatekeep any outside or unfitting requests, arming your team with the ability to say no. Once you've tightened your strategy statements, and you can have these for your website as well, share them within the organization. Make sure stakeholders, senior leaders, and colleagues understand your goals from a digital perspective. The website and the marketing hubs aren't filing cabinets. They're strategic vehicles meant to drive value and purpose for your patients and consumers, attracting them to choose your brand when they need healthcare options. If you use MailChimp or know what it is, you may already pay attention to their voice and tone. They're one of the leaders in the industry in terms of plain language, comfortable conversational style. Everyone can relate to it. On their public content style guide, they even have a section called Writing About People that outlines how to address gender, heritage, nationality, and religion. Their answer? Don't address it at all. I love this quote from their page. Being aware of the impact of your language helps make MailChimp a better place to work and a better steward of our values in the world. What a great way to position your product and brand voice in the marketplace. Voice and tone helps us establish who we are. If you're reading MailChimp's content marketing and website thinking, I wish I could do that, you can. Voice and tone are often pushed aside, but the truth is they're so important to how your patients and consumers view you in the community. Are you casual experts? Are you fun but knowledgeable? Are you professional and crisp? Are you a little of all? With healthcare, it's hard to think outside the box or think about being silly with our voice and tone. But content marketing gives you a few more open doors to connect that content in different ways. You have a chance in establishing this marketing voice to be a little different and reach those audiences that you truly want to connect with. Editorial calendars, meanwhile, control the publication and content across media and help teams stay on task in what's in queue and what's to come. When you're attempting to build an effective and easy-to-understand editorial calendar, aim for streamlining. In the world of startups and software development, we call this an MVP, or a minimum viable product. For your MVP editorial calendar, consider the basics: your publish date, or when you hope the piece can publish. Your author, ideally this should be the person owning it or the source you're working with on authoring a piece. Content title, what's the topic? And a brief summary about the content and format. What's it about? And are we trying to do a listicle or an infographic? The resources needed. This could be a video technology that you need in your hospital to specific service line experts who can serve as great source material for your piece. Intended calls to action. What are you doing to draw conversations from users and bring them to the next step? And social channel sharing. Where will this article be appropriate for sharing? As your editorial calendar matures, adding columns for things like statuses and SMART goals can be helpful for keeping your team on target. Check out our recent blog article on 6 tips to build a quick editorial calendar for more tips, available on geometric.com. HubSpot, a leader in content and digital marketing, recommends building editorial calendars no more than 3 months out. You'll often see them closer to 6. The reason for this is because it gives your team time to pivot or shift as priorities and the organization's change. A sudden midsummer campaign may crop up from your C-suite group, meaning you have to be agile on your feet to align your marketing. A shorter editorial calendar makes this possible. As you fill your calendar and consider how you need to prepare it, think about the 5 W's of journalism: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. Answering these questions can help guide the essential information you need. And check out really great tools out there. Excel, Google Sheets, Trello, and Jira can be really helpful for building shareable editorial calendars within your team. Next, we'll talk about content marketing teams. In their podcast, Healthcare Wrap, healthcare marketing professionals Jared Johnson and Peter Balsateri recommend that content marketing teams consist of between 5 and 10 people of various roles. That includes content strategy, digital strategy or analytics, designers and developers, writers and editors, and social media managers. But in all reality, how many organizations have 5 to 10 people dedicated to just content marketing? How many of you out there have 10 people on your whole team? The answer is probably not many. Healthcare marketing is a very lean team. It's really hard to scale content marketing efforts without outsourcing, even if you're just getting off the ground. 1 post a week is one thing, but if people are expecting 3 or more with a small team, it can be a lot to take on with your other responsibilities. That's why working with a partner agency or a vendor might be a good fit to help you get started. And your team may also not be known today. As you start building your team and editorial calendar, you might want to set a starting line for your regular content publishing. Is it weekly? Is it every other week? Or is it monthly? By setting a starting point, you can pivot and adjust as your experiment rolls on. Maybe it's a lot to ask for twice weekly right away. Maybe publishing on 5 social channels is too much. Pull back and have those conversations within your team. As we set a pace and identify bandwidth, that may define who will be most heavily involved in creating content for the Content Marketing Hub. And you may want to ask yourselves, who's most interested in doing this? Team members who are passionate about content marketing are usually a really great place to start off. As you create a team and have helpful resources, providers and staff even, that you can rely on, it's good practice to write down as part of your workflow who does what. Once an asset is assigned or picked up, what happens next? How are your teammates held accountable to meeting your editorial calendar plan? That's where a documented workflow can be helpful. From the minute content idea on the bottom of the barrel until sharing it and publishing across social media, how is your team dividing the work? Who's taking what responsibilities and who answers to what role? You may have resources outside of your marketing team who are passionate about content marketing and want to contribute to your hub. That's what happened with our client Cone Health with their author providers. On their blog, Wellness Matters, they offer an array of timely, user-focused content, including videos, articles, and infographics about living a healthier life. In this timely example, a primary care provider authored an article about how to help patients battle the flu. It's full of great info and was shared across all of their social channels. And of course, they also linked the author's information to his provider profile. So you've got an editorial calendar, you've got your style guide, your team, and your workflows. You're well on your way. But remember, just because this stuff is on paper doesn't make it done. Don't ignore it. It's time to test and measure. Experiment with your workflows. Are you missing a step? Experiment with your editorial calendar. Is it too aggressive? Think about your tone and voice. Is it hard to adapt? Do writers feel complicated by writing into that tone? Or does it feel foreign from the rest of your site? Keeping your experiments to a timetable, thinking like your SMART goals, is a great way to measure the success and make adjustments to your process along the way. But again, if getting all of these governance pieces in place seems like a lot to take on and you can't devote the time to it, your partners can help. They can help you document workflows and calendars, or train and consult your team, or just be there to help pick up content along the way. Which brings us to the end of our 5 tips. Hopefully there were some really great bite-sized pieces you can take back to your teams to start planning or pivoting your content marketing strategy. But as a summary, here's what we learned. Know your audience and what they're searching for. From user personas and empathy maps to keyword portfolios, these can be valuable tools for your content marketing strategy. Generate top-notch ideas with team brainstorming. Check out annual and cyclical events or Google Trends as a place to build ideas. Share content strategically. Don't forget photos and hashtags and monitoring your conversation and chatter with your followers. Set SMART goals to help guide your metrics and ROI, and report it to anyone who has a stake in the content marketing success. And lastly, establish governance, workflows, and style around all of this. Whether it's a chart of who does what, an editorial calendar of the next 3 months, keep a written log of how you'll go after your content marketing goals. And when all else fails, consider reaching out to a partner who can help you and help your team row forward with your content marketing goals.